I was so nervous I didn't eat or drink anything. I was just excited for the meeting. And even before I prayed, I was like, God, just pray for peace and for clarity in this conversation. And if it's your will, you give not only me peace, but my wife peace about it. And we talked about the job description. And I was like, Daniel was like, basically, I want you to be me. And I'm like, oh, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would kill for this opportunity.
Aloha and welcome to the Investing in Hawaii podcast, where we show everyday people how to invest in real estate, build generational wealth, and create financial freedom in Hawaii. I'm Zasha Smith, and this is
Fuzzy Jardine. What's up, gang?
And we have Josh here today to talk about his story and share with you guys, give you some inspiration. So thanks, Josh, for being on the podcast.
For having me. I always looked up to both of you, so thank you for allowing me to sit here and just talk story.
Maybe share with us a little bit about your upbringing and then kind of what got you interested in investing in real estate.
Sure. So born and raised in Hawaii. I am Hawaiian, Filipino, Spanish, Irish, Chinese, German.
Oh,
Mixed plate.
I went to St. Louis High School for middle school and high school. My father, wanted to send me to Kamehameha, but St. Louis it was, and it was a great school. After that, I went to University of Hawaii, got my degree, then went into the teaching field, went into the corporate ladder, and knew that there was something else there better for me.
Yeah, so you grew up in what area again? Like in town or?
So it's really funny. I grew up in YPO Gentry.
Oh, wow.
So I had a lot of Filipino and local friends, and then my parents got divorced, they remarried. So I moved from my Pio Gentry to Aina Haina, different ethnic groups. And so I lost all my Filipino friends, and I had a lot of Haole and Japanese friends. And it was really fun because they love to surf and do a lot of different things. And it was a great environment.
So you was at Sandy Beach, my favorite spot on that.
That was, yes, one of the great places to be. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Give me some memories from Sandy Beach when, growing up. Did you go boogie board, short breaks? I mean, what was your favorite spot?
I had a plea with God. It was just one of those days at Sandy Beach where, of course, it's rough. And I was just hanging out by the channel, and then I actually got sucked out. And I see my friends on shore, and I'm trying to, swim in. And the current is so strong that, oh my gosh, I can't even, go anywhere. And so I feel like I'm just going to float out here and, possibly die. I see a guy shortboarding, maybe about 20 yards away. And, there's too much pride in me to ask for help. And so rather than be like, help, I need help, I'm just over here just floating and suffocating. And then I get this last ditch effort where all right, God, if I make it back to shore, I'm going to do good work and just, do the best that I can. And so I sprinted for a good 40 meters. I made it in. Caught a wave in.
Right.
And then once I touched sand, I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to do that ever again. I'm only going to stay in this one portion of Sandy. So memory that will always belong with me.
Yeah. So were you body surfing or boogie board?
Both, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You lost your board or something?
No, that time I was just swimming, hanging around. And I was in the portion on the left side where normally it's pretty chill, but the current just took me out.
So you graduated at St. Louis, but you grew up in Hawaii, Aina Haina?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Jeez, Aina Haina. There's a lot of people that come out of Aina Haina, like the band called The Green.
Yes, yeah.
There's one of the bands, and then Mana'o Company, a good friend of mine, Danny Kennedy, that comes out of Aina Haina. And yeah, that's a higher end neighborhood, right?
It's a nice neighborhood to grow up in. Mm-hmm.
And big change. So how was growing up from YPO and then now you went to the same school anyway, right? So, but the neighborhood, your friends, what was the difference?
I think the big difference was, for me personally, of course my parents getting divorced and them, getting remarried and having children. So for me, it was a lot of brokenness about, my parents, they really told me hey, we're busy building our lives and we kind of need you to. They indirectly told me that, okay, you kind of need to fend for yourself. So during high school, I was trying to find approval and with grades and with sports, trying to find that love that I wasn't getting from my parents. So that was a big thing that I found in the move, because the move represented, my parents splitting up and starting a new season of life for myself.
Yeah, so I mean, that's a kind of unique unique experience to go through. Like I know we hear that a lot. We have broken families because I grew up as a stepchild. How was that? Like as far as you're dealing with your stepmom or stepfather, how was that? Because I know I didn't get along with my stepdad at that time. Now we do, as I'm older. But how was that experience?
I think my stepdad, I think he always tried to show a lot of love to me. But at that point, we weren't really doing the best financially. And so it's kind of like I had to sink or swim. I had to get good grades to get a scholarship for college. Had to pay for, things like my own cap and gown or invitations or my class ring. And like I got really good grades. I was, top 1% of my class, like National Honor Society president, sports, the Crusader Award. And I got really jealous about, seeing other people getting all these things that I felt like they didn't deserve. And I felt like, oh, I should be getting this. But I had to take that situation and kind of reframe it like, all right, my stepdad took me in, he's providing for me. He's like, he may not love me in the way or appreciate me in the way that I would need right now, but he's doing the best. And fast forward to now, we have a great relationship. Like we try to talk as much as possible. When I bring our new baby over, like it's awesome to see how much love he has for our family, my wife Jasmine and our baby Leah.
Wow, that's awesome. Because like back then, I guess my mom was always gone, and then we'd be home, and then like it was opposite for me because like I don't know, my stepdad was always he put went to work and put food on the table and then a roof over her head, as long as alongside with my mom. But for some reason we just didn't get he was more on a I don't know, just different, like a more angry person. And even my brother and sister, we all noticed it. But like now I guess we're older. He's still quiet, but he's a lot better. A lot better stepfather, than he was back then. So
it sounds like from an early age too, you kind of knew the value of like providing for yourself and knowing that, hey, like we might not have everything, but you instilled in yourself the ways to kind of find your way around financially.
Of course. So it's really funny when I look back on it because my family was always in real estate. My grandfather was a general contractor. My dad was a carpenter. My uncle were carpenters. I used to work side jobs like during high school for money, for whatever I needed. My grandma was a mortgage broker for so many years. She helped so many people and with option Rs. And when people started losing their homes through foreclosure, she helped save a lot of houses. My mom has been a realtor for 20 years. And I remember after graduating high school, my mom's like, all right, well, do you want to study for your license? Do you want to follow in my footsteps? And at that time, I was like, oh, I see you working all the time. You're not really present in my life. You're going on all these showings and all these things that you have to do, and I didn't understand it. And so I was like, nah, I'm just going to go pre-med, I'll become a doctor, do it that way. And, that's not the way that life worked out. So fast forward about 15 years from that moment. I've known Daniel Kong since maybe 2013 and have always had the greatest respect for him. We were both in youth ministry at Grace Bible Pearlside, and he was at Grace Honolulu. And I remember he changed his Instagram name from, Kobe Bala 808 to, Daniel Kong 808. And he started posting more real estate things. And I'm like, huh. And he started like, all right, I got this house in the mainland. And then next thing you know, it's, oh, I'm financially free. You're going to retire from my W-2. And I'm like, what the heck? Like here in Hawaii, that's a real thing? Like how? And I remember January 2022, I'm like, hey man, can we meet? I want to hear your story. So he gave me the time of day. We went to Ala Moana food court, and he told me his entire journey. And at that time, I was working my corporate job, making good money, and I was like, hey, like, I want to do this too. Like, how can I serve you? Like, how can I be of value? I have this experience and can do this and that. Like, I don't even want any profit. Like I told him I'll clean toilets, I'll rake, I'll take out trash, I'll do whatever is necessary just to learn. And after that meeting, he told me, all right, I want you to read 2 books. It was, of course, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and The Beginner's Guide to Real Estate Investing by Brandon Turner. And then he had me listen to the first 20 podcast episodes of Bigger Pockets. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I did that all in 4 days. 2 books, 20 podcasts in 4 days somehow. So after that, I was just really hungry and wanted to learn as much as possible. Be a sponge. Just be very teachable and just soak everything in. It's all new to me, and that this could be a possibility. And Daniel was like, all right. I told him, okay, I finished reading all the books. What's next? Like, do you need any help? Can I help you on a project? And of course, Daniel was like, yeah. Well, why don't you go to some of these events and just start learning. So I remember my first event I ever went to was at Salt Lake District Park. It was WNN, Real Estate at the Park. And it was so shame. I went with my notebook and my pen. Until this day, I still bring a notebook and a pen to meetups. And they were using all these, acronyms and, like OPP and different things I didn't understand. And so the middle, I raised my hand. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what does OPP stand for? And like, oh yeah, other people's money. And I felt like such an idiot. But I'm like, you know what? I had to change my mindset to be like, all right, I don't care what anyone thinks. I'm just here to learn and try to be the best person I can possible. Fast forward to May of that year, working my corporate job, and I'm getting mentally exhausted. My mental health isn't good. Coming home, just taking it out on my wife at times. Just arguing, and she knows I'm not happy. And I didn't want to work at a corporate life where, all right, I'm working all these hours for a job that I know that I can be replaced just like that. And I emailed Daniel this long thing. I was like, hey, I just want to let you know if you need any help, but I think the best value I can bring is bring you a property and you can teach me the process. I don't want any profit from it. I just want to learn and help you in any way possible. After I sent that email, he sent me a text, and it's like, hey, can you talk at 3? And that he called me at 3. I just finished a meeting with work, and I was like just drained. And then basically Daniel was trying to like talk story and be like, hey, like what do you want to do? Trying to feel me out. And he's like, hey, I'm looking for a right-hand man. And I'm like, oh, cool. And you're calling me? I'm like, you're such a, like you have a big name in the Hawaii, real estate market, and you're respected, and I respect the heck out of you. And basically, I was trying to talk him out of not bringing me on. I told him, hey, man, like, I don't have experience. I don't know much about real estate. Like, there's a lot of other guys that I feel that you should talk to instead of me. And what he told me that day still sticks with me. Like, hey, you know what? It's not about that. Like, I've known you for a long time. We have the same core values, strong faith. We believe strong faith with God, trustworthy, a lot of integrity. And I was like, oh, that made me, feel good. I'm like, yeah. So we met a week later, and we met at Pro Ridge, and just to go over the job description or what was entailed. And I remember, hey man, we sat down. I was so nervous I didn't eat or drink anything. I was just excited for the meeting. And even before I prayed, I was like, God, just pray for peace and for clarity in this conversation. And if it's your will, you give not only me peace, but my wife peace about it. And we talked about the job description. And I was like, Daniel was like, basically, I want you to be me. And I'm like, oh, I'm pretty sure a lot of people would kill for this opportunity. And from there, I prayed about it, told my wife. She was really scared at first, but took that leap of faith, and here we are today.
So I like how you put yourself out there. You connected with an experienced investor and found a way to add value. But not only that, I think a lot of people don't take that chance, or like you mentioned, you're like, oh no, maybe you just hire somebody else, and really trying to push them away. But at the end of the day, it's more so when you are hiring team members or want people to partner up with, it's more the things that making sure they're on the same mission as you, have the same purpose and values. So I think I see a lot of that in you, but also not many people get started by approaching like an experienced investor. So I know that must have been scary for you, but what was the biggest, I guess, takeaway or the biggest positive outcome from you and Daniel connecting?
Oh, so many.
Yeah,
On the spot. So from that first meeting, I'm now his COO. We went from, doing 4 projects at a time to double digits, and, getting commercial building shopping centers in the mainland, and multifamily 100 unit in Houston. And the awesome thing about it is it was me, Daniel, Amanda, who's our admin, amazing, and a VA. And now we grew our team to nine people. And it's so cool to do better things together with people that we hire. Because, when you're working your corporate job, you can't determine who your coworkers are. But being in this spot, our 4 core values are ownership, hard work, integrity, and humility. And all of our team members have that. And we know that when we bring someone to the team, that they're going to fit our culture and what we're trying to do and what we're trying to build. And things are always better when you're doing it with other people. And Daniel is one of the best people that I know. Truly blessed with him and Christina, and I'm so glad that Jazz has a great relationship with both of them too.
Nice.
So it's totally a blessing. God's amazing.
Yeah, it definitely shows when you guys are around or at meetups. It definitely shows the partnership is really solid. So we're stoked to see that, and we hope to see that with other people around to build their team, like in Hawaii, because it is definitely a different market, right? Like I think it's sometimes there's a lot of people that's a scarcity mentality in Hawaii, but I see that you guys are of abundance, right? You guys share a lot of knowledge and want to help others as well. So just me seeing that, like, how have you been with Daniel and his team, and now you're the COO. What have you guys done for like the community to help out? The Hawaii community.
Mm-hmm. So basically, we might have other opinions on this, but we really want to just be out there to help. People have questions. They call, text us all the time about, different situations, or how they can help, or how we can help, or how we can partner, or what are our thoughts on a situation, or if people are going through legal things. Of course, they'll talk with Daniel because he just knows so much. But this year, we're looking to launch a few things. I don't think I'm allowed to say it yet, but really looking out to giving back, not only to Hawaii, but expanding God's kingdom through marketplace ministry as well.
Good for you.
That's awesome. And that's the one thing that we want people to realize too, is that it's not always just about the profits or the money. It's about the impact that you can make on other people and fulfilling your full potential, because we don't know until we step outside of our comfort zone, how much we can actually accomplish or help others.
Right.
And that's just, I don't know how much time I have left, but let me just share something really cool. So I'm in charge of acquisitions now. I go on all of our off-seller market meetings, and I've had amazing experiences with people. There's this one lady in Y&I. I didn't lock her house down, but what I gained through that was a friendship. She was going through a lot of things. Through our seller meeting, I was able to pray for her, and I got her connected with the church, and she's going to church, and her life is, I'm checking in with her every 2 weeks, and her life's getting turned around. But through that, she's sending me referrals, and I didn't want anything like that, but just going there with the intention to, like, all right, how can we help this person with this housing situation who's not going through a great time right now? To that, from there, going to be like, oh, this person has a internal need as well. Like, hey, like, I felt God prompted me to pray for her. Got her connected to a church on that side of the island, and then now she, her soul's being healed and restored slowly, to her bringing referrals. I mean, nothing expected, but just saying, like, God, how can I help you, or how can I like represent you in every meeting that I go to, with every situation that I'm in.
And that's awesome, because a lot of people, we talked about this before in Hawaii, they don't like to share their financial situation, or if they're going through some sort of hardship, it's just like everybody keeps it hush hush, then they may end up losing their home. So it's great that they have these connections or people like us, right, that will try to help them and do what's best for them, not just want to, get another deal. Our goal is to find the right solution for them, whether that be working with us or not.
Absolutely.
Well, I have a little funny story about that I want to share with people because I think it shows the power of just you adding value, to Daniel, and then maybe share a little bit about how we met because you tell it better than I do.
Oh, sounds good. All right, so I known of Zasha, right, through Daniel's feed, and I'm trying to learn about all the different investors in Hawaii, and I've seen Zasha stories and follow her on Instagram. I'm Zasha Smith, aka Invest with Zasha. And last year, I believe it was last year, Alex Camacho, he had a meetup at his place in Pokai Bay. Zasha was gonna come down, and I got to meet her. And then a bunch of us, the investors, were gonna go to Cheesecake Factory and have some lunch. And then Zasha didn't have a ride. I think. Was it Tay or Nikki? I think they went somewhere. And then I drove Zosh. Basically, Zosh was in the front seat. I was kind of starstruck. I got this celebrity investor in my car. I'm going to ask questions. So that was my first starstruck experience with Zasha. And looking back on it, it was so funny and dorky at the same time.
But it was nice, I think, too, just to know that, you talked about you helping sellers, right? There's obviously social media has been huge for me and having an impact and inspiring other people, but you never know who's watching. And so even for me, going to events or meeting other people, I don't really think about it because it's just now a part of my day to day is making content. But in actuality, it is touching people. And it's crazy that, even me and Fuzzy met. I mean, she was trying to hit me up so much from Instagram.
We just connected because, she's awesome on social media, and I reached out because my one thing was when, what stood out was she was a local girl, came from humble beginnings, and, she came from nothing to to where she's at today by promoting herself and putting herself in front of people that were successful. And your story, what you were saying was you reached out to Daniel, and and then he turns into telling you, bro, you got to learn how to be like me. Are you going, I'll go put you in my position. And that's huge from where you started. And it takes a lot of courage to approach someone like Daniel because he's very well established in the industry. And, to me, I'm stoked for you,
Oh, thank you.
Stoked for you guys, and even stoked to have met Zasha too. And, and we both are here like you guys to help our local community in Hawaii to educate. And I feel, your guys' team and our team is kind of aligned with doing the same thing. So that's, I think, one of the reasons why we felt to bring you on the podcast. So appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
And what do you guys do now? I know you guys are also in a mentorship. Maybe share with us a little bit about how that has impacted your partnership and your team in general.
Sure. So we are in Ryan Panetta's All-Star program. We get weekly training calls with them, and we also invested for one-on-one coaching with Ryan Panetta himself. So Daniel's been flying up to Vegas once a month to meet with Panetta. At first, it wasn't cracks. Basically, Ryan just we thought we were really organized, with our systems and everything. And Ryan Panetta basically just took everything and just chopped it all up. But it was great because it allowed us to break everything down and grow our system into something that is efficient, that can be a well-oiled machine, and our organizational charts to be great. So the moment that we hire someone for that specific role, they can come in, they know what they do from day one and what their expectations are, what their SOPs are, what the KPIs are, what the flow charts are, just to be that much more efficient.
So Josh, man, we really appreciate you coming on the show, and we wanted to maybe ask you something like what you can share for our guests who's wanting to get involved with real estate, whether in Hawaii or wherever they're at. like one liner or something that you could share that could help them guide them in the right direction?
Sorry, might be a paragraph or two. So parting shot, if you're zero experience, there is so much out there. We come from an abundance mindset where, like you might think and see a lot of investors, getting all these properties, doing all these flips, rentals, etc. But there are so many properties out there that, you can connect with people going through, different situations that they need help and they don't know how to. So just because you see a lot of people doing it, like, don't let that fear stop you. And people say, take action, take action, take action. It doesn't always have to be one gigantic step. Just take one small step in the right direction, whether you're doing a podcast every day or educating yourself or just talking to different investors or people that have done it or talking to your friends, like, hey, getting their thoughts on the situation. Take steps. There's a lot of real estate out there and a lot of people that need help. And you can always reach out to Zasha and Fuzzy, Daniel, and myself, and a lot of other great people out there.
Yeah, man, that was a great, a lot of info that, appreciate that. So all you who listen out there, hey, man, follow these guys. How can they find you guys or you and, your team?
You can follow Daniel and myself on social media. He posts a lot of great content. So his on Instagram at DanielKong808. I'm at Josh DeGracia on Instagram, and then Daniel's on all the social medias. Follow his stuff because his stuff is amazing.
Well, thank you so much for opening up and sharing with us today. I know that there was definitely nuggets that you gave that will help inspire other people to get started. Aloha, thanks for watching us, and thanks for tuning in to our guest, Josh, and for his time. If you like this video and felt inspired, please like, subscribe, and comment below if you have any other questions. Mahalo.
Hello.